Okay, at this time we need to go back and we need to finish cutting out this side over here. We got to actually make two more cutting operations. We got to modify this first one here, which is the pattern project, and that's actually the smooth cut that's going to come over here on the side. That's going to take out all of the excess material left behind from the roughing pattern. And then additionally, we're going to come back and create another mill part setup, which will actually go and mill out the holes that you see here. So let's get started with setting up this smooth plan. See, it says tool 53 or T53 here. Again, we don't have a tool turret or a tool magazine, so we're going to change that. So we'll right mouse click on that, and then we'll come back and we'll left mouse click on that, I'm sorry. Then we'll come back and we'll say edit definition. Okay, when that comes up, the first thing we want to do is go take care of this tool. We always know we're going to be using tool 32 because that's the custom tool we set up that matches our milling bit. You can use multiple tools, but what that's going to require is you to run two offsets. You got to reset your tool each time, load a new tool. I don't do that. That's too much work. So we'll come down here and we're going to scroll down. We're going to find our tool 32, and you can see it's already been selected for our first tool path. That's why the number 1 was there. It's been used once before, so we'll select that. Okay, no, we don't want to replace our tool holder. In fact, let's not even see that dialog again. Okay, so with that said, let's go up to feeds and speeds. Again, it's just like in the roughing pattern. It's 10,000 RPMs. We'll set the feed rate to 100. We'll set our, let's do that, delete there, 100. We'll do a tab here. We'll come over here and set our lead-in feed rate to be 40% of the 100, so that's going to work pretty good. Now, let's go to pattern. Pattern is important because we're setting up a slicing operation, and we want to slice at 90 degrees to our block. So let's go ahead and key in 90 on that. I may need to come back and change that, but for right now I'm pretty sure that's what I want to do. Then our step over method. On the step over method, I'm going to use a percentage, and this sets to 20%. I like to, on an 1/8 inch ball mill, is to go over 15%. That's just kind of my preference. So with that said, let's go to the next tab, which is the finish tab. Finish is like the area clearance from the previous one that we did. So on this, I'm going to again set everything to 0. Okay, and then over here on the cut parameters, that all looks fine. I'm going to go above my stock a 1/16 of an inch, 0.625. Okay. And then I can say user defined. I can come over here and I can select user defined, or, well, let's just go ahead and set this for now. So we'll say user defined here. Now it's going to put that point up there. Now what I want to do at this time is I'm going to just say OK. And I need to draw myself a point on the back of this car where I want the toolpath to go past the midway point. So let's go look back in the back of the car here. We'll go ahead and rotate the car around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to our feature manager, okay, and we're going to set ourselves normal to the right, to the front plane. Set ourselves normal to that. Let's just do that one more time and flip it back around so we can see it. Now with that done like that, I'm going to come up here to my line command, and I'm going to create a quick sketch. I'm going to go vertical. I'm going to go infinite. And I'll put that right there on the center of the car. Then I'm going to go grab my point command here, and I'm going to arbitrarily put a point out here in space. That will become my pick point. So let's set a distance on that off of this center line from here to there, and I want this to actually go past it probably 1/8 of an inch. So I'll say 0.125. So what happens is the tool is actually going to come past here 1/8 of an inch. Let's go ahead and hit tab on that and check that off. Okay, so the tool will actually will cut past the side of the car here to 1/8 of an inch. That's going to be good because that's going to give us what we need. Now with that done, we'll go ahead and check off that dimension. We'll come down and we're going to name that sketch here to pick point. Pick point. Okay, rebuild. Save our file. Let's go back to the operations tree. Let's do a right mouse click on the pattern and say edit definition. So it left us back here, brought us right back here to finish where we were. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a point, and that's the point I want. I'm going to say OK. Now, let's see what this looks like. Let's go ahead and do a preview and see how that pattern looks. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. And as you can tell, it goes past the center of the car, which is where we want the tool to go past. So what that'll do is that'll take out any kind of mate line or problem that we may have there. And we'll actually do the same thing on the opposite side. So here's the next thing we got to fix. Notice these retrack rates right here. Well, we got to fix that. So we'll go back up here. We'll just click on any tab here. We'll go back to our finish. That's all good. We'll go to the next one, which is our NC. And here it says top of stock or do all this kind of stuff. No, no, no. We're going to always use our mill part setup, which is what we said over here in the left side cut group 7. So we'll just check that off, and that will go back and it will change that. So let's do a preview real quick, which will actually do a temporary processing of it. And you'll see how those entry retracts will change to where we set it for in our mill part setup. Let's see what it's doing here. Let's go back out of this. I probably have to go back and actually process that. Let's see if I can process it. I think we got the same old problem again. We got to go check those licenses. So we'll come back over here to help. We'll go to SolidWorks. We'll go to license info. Give that a moment. Yep, it lost the pointer to that thing again, so that's no big deal. We just know where it's at. We know how to fix it. It's a little frustrating. And now we'll say update licenses. I really don't know why it's doing this. I'm going to have to call CAMWorks and figure out what's going on with that. Those guys have been really awesome to work with. We work with a group called Access Manufacturing out in Southeast United States. Great people to work with. So we updated our license. That's all good. We're going to go ahead. I just clicked it again, so it's going to go update it again. We'll check this off. Now again, we were looking for the distance on our mill part setup. So we're going to come back over here. See, there it is. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to say generate toolpath. And what it's going to do is it's going to do the same thing as preview would do. So now, see, I turned everything from pink to gray. Oh, looky there. It went in and changed the retract depth from way out here to much closer. We still have something we got to fix. So let's right mouse click again on that and go back and edit the definition. The last thing I want to work on right now is my entry retract. I set everything to 0, 0 here, and on that, instead of 1/10 of an inch, I go to 1/4 of an inch. And that's on my lead in, lead out, and then I'll set this to 0, 0. That's fine. I don't use plunge. I don't like using plunge because it usually causes problems. So I'll use a ramp, which is a much more gentle process, and that's way too gentle at 2 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and set that to 20 degrees. Actually, it's too sharp. So we'll go ahead and hit that, and OK, and then we'll do a preview again, and we'll process this, and it's going to go out there and pre-process this. Probably didn't need to do that. Probably could have just went back to the original and generate the tree. And here you can see the ramp in and all that. That's really nice. That's what we want. So this is a pretty good looking toolpath from what I can gather here. Let's go ahead and always look at our simulate to make sure that. Now down here at the end you see these red lines here. That's kind of showing you an exaggerated path that what the tool's going to have to go to mill out this detailed area. That's all right. That's fine. We like that. Okay, so let's get out of this. We'll come back to this and say okay. It's going to ask me to process. We'll say well yeah sure, because we want to see a simulation of it. So it's going to process it again. You'll get really good after a period of time in knowing when to process and not to process. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just grab this whole thing up here, and we're going to go up here and we're going to hit this. It says simulate, and we're going to zoom up on that so we can see a little bit better, and let's say simulate. Oh, that's too slow. We'll go ahead and stop that, and we'll push our slider all the way over here. Now let's run it. Yeah, that's better. And as you can see on the blue, it's doing the rough out pattern. That's running the first one where it says area clearance, and it's knocking that out. The fact that we're using the same tool is going to make it a lot easier on us. Now it's actually coming up here and doing the milling on the rear end, starting from the rear end because that's where it goes from the back to the front. It's doing the fine cut. Now you've seen all these little deflections in here. Don't worry about that. You're milling out on balsa wood, and over time that's not even going to show. And a lot of it's the graphics in this computer, this high-powered graphics computer I have here. Joke there. But a lot of it's the graphics that you're seeing here and the resolution of it. But you know, in a much more expensive video card in your computer, you're going to get better resolution on that. But having done this so many times, I know what I'm looking at. It looks great. This is what I'm aiming for. And as you make toolpaths and you make dragsters and you make anything for that matter, always come back and refer to this in my settings, and you can see how that'll help you. We've actually made other stuff. We made hand mirrors and ukuleles and all that, and we use the dragster settings because, as we said, you know, it's a technology that you learn that will be valuable in applying it to other things. And so it's actually coming over here and pocketing out the area from before. Actually, that's not good. That's not good. You know what we missed? We did not get our contain in there. So we got to fix that. So let's go over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to expand this, click on that, do a right mouse click, and we're going to say new contain area. That's important. We forgot about that. And we're just going to come down here and select on our sketch that we call contain. So that's what it says. Yes, that's the one I want. Okay, glad we did this simulation, so we'll see what's going on. So it's going to go out and process this again, and it'll be fine. It should take a little less time. In fact, it did. So now we'll click on this to verify that we are within our contain. Let's go ahead and do a closer view on the side, left side here. And as we run our mouse over it, it shows that it's actually contained inside that area. Again, I'm kind of a stickler for simulating, so I'm going to go ahead and double verify that simulated toolpath. In fact, I'm going to turn it around. I'll go ahead and say simulate, and we'll go ahead and start running that. So it'll rough that out. So we know right here we're in the contain based on the roughing pattern here. But we'll verify that we're in the contain when we do our fine finish. Now, if you don't want to go through all this, here's a quick way to do it. You just stop this, you come back and rewind it, hit the airplane, hit play. And it shows you those two toolpaths automatically. That's good. Now, it's not as at high a resolution as the other one, because you can see it's kind of rough looking here. But that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time, want to see this run like that way, this will show you how it's all processed. So this is really, really good. We're going to go ahead and stop this from right now. I'm going to come back to this and work on the holes for milling out our axle holes.